I know CFL talk isn't for everyone. Our intros for it are bangers enough that it's worth just hanging around for the CFL talk. It is week 9 in the Canadian Football League as July comes to a close, which means we're just a few weeks away from Labor Day, which is when things really start to pick up, which is good because I need to know what to think of this league because it is so tight right now in the Canadian Football League. The first two, these are easy to figure out. The rest was a little bit difficult. So let's get into it. At 9, it is the Ottawa REDBLACKS. I know everyone rushes to throw Edmonton down here. They beat Ottawa, so that kind of does it for me. That these guys have... Now, I know you can't just do CFL math that way because then Ottawa is ahead of Calgary, but... that was a downpour game, and Calgary has more than made up for it. Neither of these teams have done anything to make you feel any differently since that game, so I've kind of just been defaulting to Ottawa in last, and that's where I'm going to stay for now. At number 8, Edmonton. When the best thing we can say about you is, hey, you beat the only team worse than you. Not great. This was probably their best game of the season against Saskatchewan, at least defensively. They really limited what the Riders could do and played a pretty good football game. Still not good enough to beat, like, the 50% effort that Saskatchewan put out in that one. At 7, it's the BC Lions. This is becoming more and more concerning. I think that there was this assumption that, okay, Nathan Rourke's going to be here and we're going to be good. They spent a lot on the cap to bring him in, and then didn't spend a whole lot in helping to protect him. And I made this joke on 960 this week. A lot of my notes have Nathan Rourke very good at scrambling. I think he would like to prove that a little less, though, because he is on the run kind of always. So I have BC down at number 7. The loss against Saskatchewan, 33-27, is very, very kind to them. The Riders, pardon my language, whooped that ass and basically just did what they do, foot off the gas, and let the Lions back into it. Hamilton, they were able to do basically anything they wanted to in that game, and save for one of the best interceptions you will ever see, it probably ends up being even more one-sided tilt. So I have big concerns about the BC Lions. Coming in at number 6 are the Toronto Argonauts. Yes, Zach Collaros was beat up for that game, but he played the first half and they shut him down entirely. So I have to give them at least a little bit of credit for that dub. And so that is why they get the spot over the BC Lions right now. So I have Toronto coming in at 6. It's a surprise from AJ, who is saying, whoa, BC at number 7. Yeah, no, like, I know we're surprised with Toronto moving up above there on this one, but I just think that to be able to do that in the first half still against Winnipeg, that needs to be rewarded. So they get a bit of a bump this week. Coming in at number 5, it is Winnipeg. Zach Collaros will not be starting for them this week, so there are big concerns there. I had them in the top half of the power rankings for most of the season. It has been a bit of a struggle over the last couple of weeks, so they now move down in those rankings. Before we get to the top half of my power rankings this week, again, one more time, want to remind you guys, if you missed anything or just want to hear this again and again, the show is available in podcast form on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Coming in at number 4, it is the Calgary Stampeders. That was a frustrating loss, I think, for them, and part of it, too, is that I just think teams ahead of them are playing some pretty good football. I respect a lot of what Calgary has done, but I do also think you have to take into account injuries are piling up for this team, and when you're looking at the teams ahead of them, aside from one, they're quite a bit healthier than they are right now. Calgary's still a very good team and could end up at the top of the league very easily. A win this week against Ottawa, probably isn't putting you there, but a win in the next couple of weeks, and they are right back at it. This isn't a knock on Calgary. It is more a statement of the teams ahead of them than the teams that are below them. I will say that, I guess. Coming in at number 3, this was the one where I found I differed quite a bit from other people doing these things. I have Hamilton at number 3. 5-game winning streak. They've been fantastic. Full marks for all of that. And I don't want to go through and, oh, well, they only beat this team. Oh, well, they only beat this team. But they beat Montreal when Davis Alexander was hurt. They whooped Toronto. They whooped on BC, who we are starting to have big concerns about anyway. They beat Ottawa, and I forget what the other one was. But I think they're playing great. I have you can go back and look at my best bets with 3 down. At week 1, I took Bo to win MOP, which is looking great. And I took Bo over 4,500 yards. He might get that this weekend. Hyperbole, obviously. But he is looking very, very good right now. And the defense is better than what I thought it was. I still can't put them at number 1, though. I need to see what they look like against some of the kind of top teams in the Canadian Football League. AJ, I completely agree with you. They have been good. But I can't put them ahead of a couple of teams here. At number 2, there's probably some bias in this. I have the Saskatchewan Roughriders at number 2. So for the people on the Facebook comments of my rider thoughts from 3 down, this is to make up for it, I guess. It was an ugly performance against Edmonton last week. And yes, Calgary kind of beat them up a couple of weeks before that. But I still, when you look at what this team can do offensively with Trevor Harris and just a boatload of exciting young receivers with AJ Ouellette, who can be a wrecking ball, that offensive line is starting to show some holes but can be pretty good. The defensive line was dominant against Edmonton and has been very good all season long. And the secondary, while showing some holes, has also been pretty good for the most part this season. I still think this is a pretty complete team. I do wish that some of the wins would be more convincing, and as the season goes along, your 2 most convincing wins being over BC is looking less impressive. But I still think that when you look at a team that can play complete football, this is one of those teams. They're well coached. They have a ton of talent all over the field. I feel like Saskatchewan still with a bit of a grind, but a win this week, kind of getting back on track. So I like this one a lot for them. And coming in at number 1, if you can do the math, figure it out, it is the Montreal Alouettes. It's a great win for them this week over Calgary. And again, I know Calgary was beat up. Vernon Adams played most of that game, and they did as good a job as anyone has of shutting them down. And I have said before, when everyone is healthy, if you could just go Madden style and just take all the injuries away, Montreal is the most complete team in the Canadian Football League. And I still think that has to matter for something. To be able to come out of Calgary with a win, with your backup quarterback in and your best receiver not playing, that's a very strong win. You have to remember how good this defense is. They are extremely well coached all over the field. And so when you have these teams all kind of balled up, Montreal, Saskatchewan, Hamilton, Calgary, Winnipeg, I put all of them kind of in the same tier almost right now. And I think Montreal, coming off of that win over Calgary, just gets the nod at number 1 this week. So looking in the chat, I think AJ disagreed with basically every one of my picks except for Ottawa, but which is fine. That's what these are here for discussion, for disagreement. It is totally okay. I enjoy the conversation, but yeah, I just think Montreal, a complete team. Saskatchewan, you would wish it would look a little bit better and a little bit more convincing against teams that it should look convincing against, but they are still picking up wins, and they are, for the most part, like when it goes well for them, like their good looks better than basically everyone else's good except for Calgary so far this season. Like when it is really clicking, this is a very difficult team to stop. They just don't put it together for the full 60 minutes, as they say, as much as they should. So that is why I have them as high as I do, but a lot could change in the rankings this week. Let me know what you think down in the comments, in the chat as well. Like I said, AJ, really do appreciate it, and I am enjoying the conversation that we are having here. And yeah, to AJ's point, we have the top 2 teams on this power ranking anyway, going at it on Saturday with the Riders taking on the Montreal Alouettes. So really looking forward to that game, and looking forward to seeing where everyone is at. And then, no man, I'm shocked. Again, like I've said this before, but like we get, once the games are done at 3 down, we get a picks doc to fill out, and doing that, and I kind of like just see where everyone's at after I filled mine out. It's like, oh, I am different on some of these, and so I think this week will kind of be a little bit good. It's kind of like what do they call it in golf? It's moving week. Instead of moving day, it's moving week. Let's see really where does everyone kind of stack up here. It is East versus West, I think, in all 4 games in the CFL this week. So very interested to see where everyone kind of lines up here. But yeah, keep the notes coming, whether it's in the comments or in the chat. I really do appreciate it. And like I've said before, a lot of things change here at Couch Potato Diary. So make sure you keep it locked on my social medias. I'm at Primetime Klein on X, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and on Blue Sky.